Welcome to MySQL webinar series from JPassion.com. Today we are going to cover MySQL data formats and XML support, topic number 7. So let's start with the presentation. So these are the set of topics that we are going to cover. We are going to see how you can export or import records into file and from the file. And we will see how we can start MySQL client with XML option. And we'll see how you can read XML file. And then we're going to look into XML functions called extract value and update value, which is actually using XPath notation. So we might actually spend a few minutes learning XPath. And we're going to see how you can export a table into XML file. And finally, XML support in MySQL 6.0. So let's see how you can export table records. So this is the syntax. You are going to use select statement with into our file, and then you specify the name of the file that you want to export your record. So you can use into our file, or you can use int dump file, and you want to use non-binary data. You want to use into our file for non-binary data, and for binary data, you want to use int dump file. You can specify the field termination and or line termination here. So field termination. So this is an example. So here, what I'm saying here is that I like to perform query operation. And I like to get age and first name fields from person table, and where condition age is greater than 30. So I like to collect all the records whose age is greater than 30, and then I want to actually add only age and first name field into this file. And the file, when it create a file, I want the termination of the field to be specified with in this case, colon. And you can specify also line termination. So this is an example. So suppose we have a person table that has 5 records. Those are the sample application we have seen so far in this course. And here we are creating temp person.txt file. And so once you have done this, you can take a look at the contents of person.txt file, and you should see this. Okay, so 5 records in this case, and each field is terminated by comma in this case, and the line termination is by the end of the line sign. So let's do exercise 1. So we are going to start MySQL D first, which I've done already, and then I'm going to go to MySQL directory, hands-on MySQL directory. Oh, I'm sorry, you go to MySQL XML directory, and then you're going to start the client, MySQL client, and then we are going to use MyDB database. Okay. So we're going to actually create the test table. So this is the test table that we have used in this course so far. So let's create a test table. So I'm going to run this SQL file. Okay, so now let's take a look at the person table to make sure we have valid test data. So we got the valid test data. Now we are going to export all records and all fields of this record into person table. Person .txt file on the temp directory. So you can see I'm creating that particular file, and termination, field termination is comma, and line termination is /n. Okay, so we're gonna run this export data SQL file. So I'm gonna copy this one and run it. Now I'm going to actually go to so now if I take a look at the temp person.txt file, I should see this. Okay. All right. Now here I'm going to export records with a selective field. So instead of actually adding everything, I'm going to select only age and first name field. Okay. So let's try this. So we are going to go here. And now if I take a look at this file, we are going to see only the age and first name field. Okay, so you can see age is before first name, so that's the reason this person fields text file got created with age field first. All right, here the next example is we are going to use where clause. So here we are going to selectively choose records. So let's try to run this one. So this is the same as previous example, but here we are using also where clause. So we are going to have a smaller number of records. So let's run. Okay, now you can see it has only 3 rows. So let's take a look at the person condition.txt file that was just created. Okay, so you can see we have only 3 records whose age is greater than 30. Okay, so 88, 56, and 34, they are all greater than 30. You can also export records from a table to another table. So in this case, we are going to create a new person table here, okay, which contains the first name field and last name field like this. And then we are going to insert the records from this table. So select first name and last name from person table. Then we are going to add those records into this new table. Okay, so let's run this script. Now, if you take a look at the new file that got created, new person table, you can see we have a first name field and last name field. All right, so that's exercise 1. So let's move on to exercise topic number 2. So that was exporting records. Now this is importing records. So importing record is used to load a large number of records into MySQL database in a single batch. So if you have data in the form of some file, then file could be read into MySQL, and then it will be converted into MySQL table. And also, of course, it's used to read data that is in different format. So this is an example. So you are going to use load data in file, then you specify the name of the file, and then you say into table, and then you specify the name of the table. So in this example, we are reading temp person text file. Okay, so that was just what we created, right? Temp person. So we are going to read this file. Okay, and then we are going to create a new table called a new person. Okay, and here the field termination that we want to use in this source file is comma, and line termination is /n. Okay, you can also specify the fields that you want to read. Okay, so here what you're saying is I want to read only person ID field and the first name field and age field from this file. Okay, so of course this new person table will have a last name field not set. Okay, so yeah, so if there is no data, then null value is inserted when the value is missing. And you can also specify some optional clauses. For example, low priority. So it runs the importing task when no other threads are accessing the table, so that it doesn't actually hinder other MySQL operations being performed. Concurrent optional clause is applied only to MyISAM table, and it runs the importing task while other threads are accessing the table. So it's kind of concurrent operation. And ignore means if any records being imported has a duplicate primary, then just ignore it. And ignore lines is actually skip the specified number of lines at the beginning of the file. So if the first few lines contain some data that are not relevant, then you can use ignore lines option. All right, so let's do exercise 2. So exercise 2 is importing records. So we know we have this file, person.txt file that we have created in exercise 1 that contains this record. And this is the import data SQL script file. So here we are going to create new person that has the same name of the columns and the same number is actually exactly the same as person table. So you're basically creating a new table that looks like a person table. And then we are loading data into this the new person table from this person.txt file. And again, field termination is comma, and line termination is /n. Okay, so let's run this guy. Now we have now new person table should have created. Okay, so you can say select from new person, and you can see new person table has been populated with the data from person.txt file. Okay. Now the next one is we want to import only a selective set of fields. Okay, so instead of reading everything from person.txt file, we want to read only person ID, first name, and age field. Okay, so let's run that one. Okay, and if I display a new person table, all right, now you can see last name field have not been set. Okay, so basically they are null, and only the first person ID, first name, and age field have been filled. All right, that's importing records. Now let's move on to the next topic. Start MySQL client with XML option. So when you run your MySQL client with XML option, then the result of select statement will be in XML format, okay, instead of default table format. And this is the way that you are starting your MySQL client with XML option. So if you started your MySQL client with this option, and then if you perform select statement, then the result is going to be in the form of XML, like this. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to finish this one, and then we are going to start MySQL with minus XML, with the XML option. Okay, password is null, and we're going to use MyDB as usual. Okay, now we're going to perform some select operation. So let's take a look at the contents from person table. Now we are going to see the result is in the form of XML instead of default table format. Okay. All right. And here we are going to perform select operation where the where clause again is going to display the result in XML. So here we'd like to see all the records whose age field value is greater than 30, and we want to just to see age and first name field. Okay, so we have age and first name field, and we have only 3 records whose age value is greater than 30. Okay. All right, so that is how you can start with XML option to see the result in XML format. Okay, so I'm going to change it back. We're going to use non-XML option. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, reading XML file. So you can use load file, and then you can specify the path to the XML file. So load underscore file is a built-in XML function that is supported by MySQL. So it returns the file contents as a string, and then you can set variable with that return the string, or you can actually set the table field with that return the string. By the way, in order to use this load underscore file function, the file that you specify here should be on the server host, and that means the server should be able to access it. And the full path name of the file must be specified. So here, the example is I'm reading person.xml file on the temp directory, and then I'm setting XML variable. Okay, so if I say select XML variable, then you should see the contents of this person.xml file. All right, so let's do exercise 4. All right, so we start MySQL client without XML option, and then we are using MyDB. And now let's take a look at the people.xml file. So this is the people.xml file that is provided under mysql.xml hands-on lab and the XML files. Okay, and later on you can specify the full path. Okay, so I like to actually use the temp directory. So you might want to copy that file on the temp. Okay, so that file is already created for me. So I have that file, temp people.xml. Okay, so let me just actually see the contents. Okay, so this is the content. Okay. Now here we are going to read that file by using the select and load file function. And it will just display the string in the standard output here. Okay. In general, you might in fact assign a variable with the result of loading the file. So here I am assigning the result of loading the file into this XML variable. Okay, so now if I take a look at the XML variable, XML, oops. Yeah, we did. Oh, okay, so this is G. Okay, so, oh, I didn't do the set yet. Okay, yeah, I was just doing a select. Okay, so let's set it first, and then we should be able to see XML variable that contains that XML string. Okay. All right, so that's exercise 4. Let's move on to the next topic. XPath tutorial. So the reason we are learning XPath tutorial is that we are going to use 2 built-in functions later on, extract value and update XML, which is actually using XPath notation. Okay. All right. So let's say we have this XML file. It has a person element, and then we have a 2 person sub-element, and each person has a name, and in this case it has a first name and last name, and then the person has a profession, 3 professions. And this second person is born 1918 and died 1888. So yeah, in fact, both of this person element has born and died attributes, and has a name. And this person has a middle initial as well. And this person has a single profession and a single hobby. So let's assume that we are using this XML file as a test XML file. So XPath expression basically lets you reference anything on that XML file. Okay, so this is an example. So here, if you're using this notation, what it means is that get all first name nodes on the all name nodes under the first person node on the all people node. So we have only one node that meets that the XPath notation expression, and that should be this, the first name, Ellen. And in this case, you are basically getting the first name of the second person. Okay, so that should be first name of Richard. And this one is give me all the first names. So there should be 2 cases, right? So this one and this one. And this one, first name and text. That means get the text value of all first name on the all parent node. So the text node is this, Ellen and Richard. So it will return this, okay? This is basically get the second profession node on the all person node on the all people node. And we have only one, case, the second profession. So if you take a look at the this example, the second profession is this. That's only one case. That's the reason we are going to see only one node in the return. So here, this. This one is all the first profession of all the persons and all the people node. Okay, so we should actually see this and this two professions. You know, so because there is only there are two people, and there are two persons, and each person has first profession. And this one is a second first profession of the second person, so we should we should see just this. Okay. All right, so pretty straightforward XPath notation. This one is all professions, so we should have all four professions. This one is all professions first one, the first one of the all professions, so we should have just one node. And here, the all professions of all people, but the all person whose attribute is 1918. So in this case, we should see just one profession. All right, let's move on. So that's a quick XPath tutorial. Now let's see XML functions. So MySQL support two built-in functions for XML processing. One is extract value, that is for retrieving XML elements, and update XML is for updating XML element. Okay, and as I said, these two functions use XPath expressions for referencing XML element. So let's see an example. So extract value. So extract value, you can specify XML fragment, and then you specify XPath expression. And then extract value returns the text of the first text node that is a child of elements matched by XPath expression. So basically, the result of this XPath expression against this XML fragment, and then text node of it will be returned. Okay. So example in this case is that this is XML fragment, right? And then this is the XPath expression. So basically what it's saying is that give me all B's on the all A. Since we have only one A and one B, it will return this. However, it will take the text of that return node. So text is just this. Okay. So in fact, you can also specify text node. Okay. So in fact, these two are the same, okay? Because in this case, it will get the text node, and then because it's already a text node, it doesn't have to convert it into a text node. If the node is not a text node, then it will convert it into the text node and then return, okay? So these two are the same. All right, so this is an example. So here, I'm gonna actually just use the hands-on lab here. So you can certainly take a look at extract value, examples. So let's try this. So basically what it returns is XX, because you want to return all B's on the all A since we have only one, okay? And then you want to get the text noded, and that is XX, okay? Like this. And again, this is the same thing as the above, okay? Because extract value will call the text method. Okay, so as you can see, this is the same. And here we are extracting the XX, but we are actually returning as value. Okay, so we are using alias as value, like this. Then it will return as value. And here we are returning all B's. Since we have only one B, it will return XX. Okay, because we have only one B. If there are multiple B's, then we could actually have multiple things actually here. All right, next example. Okay, so moving forward. So we did this. All right, so one more. Now, the next example of extract value is instead of using the XML fragment that is being passed right here as an argument, we want to use a variable. So we already have this XML variable that we set in previous exercise, which contains this the person, the people element, and then two-person element. And again, this is the same XML that we have seen in the slide. Okay. So this time, what we want to do is we want to extract all first name on the all names, but the first persons. Okay. So we should have only one, Ellen. Okay. So let's try that. And you can see it returns Ellen. And this is the same thing, but from the second person. So we should see the first name of the second person, which is Richard. Okay, this Richard first name here. And then this one is I like to extract every possible first name. Okay, so in this case, we should see both Ellen and Richard like this. The next one is the same thing as this, because this time we are also calling text method, but extract value does call the text method. Okay. Anyway, so this text method is kind of moot point. Okay, but the result is the same. Now the next one is, this is a case that I like to extract the second profession from all persons, all person node on the all people node. Okay, so in this case we have only we have only one person. That is only one node. That means the second profession. So that is this mathematician, like this. And this one, extract all first professions from all person node and on the all people. So we should actually see the first profession on both cases. So the first person's first profession is computer scientist, and second person's profession is physicist, right? So that's what we should see. Okay, and this one is extract first profession on the second person on the all people node. Okay, so we have just one that meets that XPath expression, okay, which is physicist. And in this case, we'd like to extract all professions. Okay, so we should actually see four of them: computer scientist, mathematician, cryptographer, and physicist. Okay. And this one is the first profession, all first professions. So we should actually see two of those, right? Because each person has first profession. And this one, we want to extract all professions of all people who is born on 1918 on the all people. Okay, so we have just one result node. Okay, physicist. All right, so that is extract value. Now let's move on to update. Yeah, actually it's supposed to be update XML, not update value. So update XML, basically you specify XML target and XPath expression and then new XML. Okay, so let's see an example of this. So suppose we have you can see the first name of the first person is Ellen, right? And we want to change this to something else. So what we want to do is we want to use update XML, and then this is the target XML variable that contains that people element. And then you specify XPath expression. So this is the one that you want to change, and this is the what you want to change with. Okay, so here basically I'm changing Ellen first name node with Sang. Okay, so now if you take a look at the that first name, then you should return Sang. All right, let's do update XML. So again, let's try this. It should actually return Ellen. Okay, and if you take a look at the select XML, okay, so the first name is Ellen, and this is the one that we want to change to, in this case, Sang. Okay, so I'm going to use Yeah, basically we perform update operation and result will be set into XML. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this one, and this is the one that this is the target node. Ah, apology. Okay, I might have to set XML again. All right, so I have to set XML again. Okay, so what we want to do is reading XML file. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, now, okay, so XML is set. Now what we want to do is we want to update XML. Okay, so let me just copy this one. And this is the target. And this is what we want to change to. Okay, so I'm actually changing to Sang from ln. Okay, all right, so now if I display XML, you can see the first name has been changed. Okay, all right. This is the case that we want to change profession of the person who's born in 1918 to barber. Okay, so again, if you take a look at the yeah, so what we want to change is the physicist. We want to change this one, this physicist to barber. Okay, so let's copy, and then this is expat expression, and then this is what we want to change to. Okay, now if I take a look at the XML variable, you can see the profession has been changed to barber. All right, so let's move on. Exporting a table into an XML file. In MySQL 5.x, there is no equivalent of select into up file for XML. So the only way that you can, the only way that works is starting, basically starting MySQL with the XML option as we have seen before. Or you can use MySQL dump, or you can actually use this XML, and then you can actually perform the select statement, and then the result is going to be copied into this file. Okay. Let me actually finish the XML support in MySQL 6.0, and then we'll do exercise 6. So you can actually store data in XML, format. Okay. Some new XPath functions are also added. Okay. So now this is actually basically working with the MySQL 5.x. Okay. Again, let's actually create the test table again. Okay, so this is our famous test table that contains 5 person in person table. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to dump the person table of MyDB into temp my person XML. Okay, so we're using MySQL dump utility. Okay. All right, now if I take a look at the temp my person, it should actually contain this XML file. All right. And this is the case that we are going to use MySQL with the the XML option. Okay, so let's try it. This is another way of doing it. So this time we are going to create the same contents, but we are going to create myperson2.xml file. Okay. Right. So now if I take a look at myperson2.xml file, it should actually contain the same contents. Okay. All right. So that's the end of today's presentation. So let me